Well, last week on this program, we broke the story about the Australian families caught up in a nightmare in Crete, where they were separated from their biological babies who'd been carried by a surrogate after there were raids on the Mediterranean fertility clinic over accusations of human trafficking. Europe correspondent for the Australian newspaper, Jacquelin Magnay, has been on the ground reporting on this story, and she joins me now from London. Jacquelin, thank you for your time. Now, there's two parts to this. There's the great news for the Australian parents who've now been reunited, and then there's the surrogates. Tell me about the two Australian parents who have finally been able to take their newborns home.
Well, on Friday, they got the fabulous news that the DNA was a match with the child, and so they were able to take the newborns back to their accommodation in Hania to spend the weekend with them. And they are due back at the hospital this morning, and they are going to have checks on the baby and also process some extra paperwork in order to get the baby's birth certificate. So that's absolutely fantastic news for these two couples who are just enormously relieved that this saga has now ended and they're able to hold their babies.
Then there's the other side of it, the women who were carrying these babies, who were the surrogates. We're hearing allegations, and this is the police case against the fertility clinic, that it was forcing some women to be surrogates. Tell me what you uncovered when you were in Crete.
So I found one of the houses where some of the surrogates had been held essentially in very grim conditions, almost like prison-like conditions in this house where the shutters were closed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this was even before the police raids. So for 9 months of the pregnancy, these women were kept in this house with the shutters closed all day. They were allowed out at night, but only to go and have a cigarette or to have a quick walk. And then they had to be back in the accommodation, and there was a handler that would come every night to make sure that they were doing what they were supposed to do, which was essentially just lie around and do nothing, which is not what I would think that the Australian couples would have expected that their surrogate was doing. I think being in Hania, a beautiful sunny place, that they would have been able to walk around, enjoy the sunshine, get some vitamin D and have a normal life. It's quite incredible that they were essentially caged up in these conditions. It's shocking.
And many of them were foreign women. They were from Georgia, so were actually forced to come to Crete. I mean, they were promised money for surrogacy, but we don't even know whether that's been paid.
Well, I understand that they have been paid on a monthly basis, which is very minimal, 200 to 300 euros, which is about 500 Australian dollars, and that's to cover their costs. But for Eastern European women in very desperate situation, perhaps from rural areas as well, this money is a fortune for them. And they were also promised a baby bonus at the end. So what's happening now is that the surrogates who've given birth since the raid have not been paid their baby bonus, and that those that are pregnant and having the babies in the next couple of weeks, that situation for them as well is quite grim. So they're not going to get paid. They're going to end up having spent this horrendous time and then face, they are the victims in this, but then face quite a long, lengthy court process.
All right, such a sad story, although of course wonderful that finally those Australian parents have been able to meet their babies. Jacquelin Magnay, thank you very much for your time.